Hello again everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how I'm going to efficiently approach the next Conquest to give myself the easiest possible ride to that all-important red box. Specifically in this video, we're going to be talking about day one. In this video, we're going to talk about the approach to take through each sector, what teams are going to work efficiently, what sort of stamina levels I'm looking at going down to with each toon and each team. I know that this guide isn't going to work for everyone because I have a pretty good roster, but hopefully you can see the approach I'm taking and adapt that approach to your specific roster, and that'll help you get through as easy as you possibly can as well. The first thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the data discs. It's important to know what data discs you're going to be looking for before you start progressing through the first sector. Now, we all know, or hopefully know, that there is a bit of a debuff combo theme going on with the data discs. The important ones to have for that are caustic emissions, which is going to give an enemy 2 damage over time effects and burning at the start of their turn, neither of which can be resisted, and thermal exhaust, which is whenever an enemy gains 5 debuffs, they gain 5 stacks of thermal detonator, again, which can't be resisted. These two in combination provide an insane amount of damage output from your team. Sometimes it's going to snipe the kills when you're looking for those faction specific kills, so you have to work around that a little bit, but these do really allow your team to punch up higher than you would imagine. We also like to look for some other discs which work well with this debuff synergy we have. Amplify Agony, it's fantastic. So that's whenever anyone on your team inflicts a debuff, you also deal 8.16% max health damage. Obviously this percentage changes based on whether you've got a grey, a green or a blue disc. Volatile Accelerator, which is whenever an enemy is dealt damage by an ally, the enemy gains 6.5% turn meter, but also takes 2 damage over time effects, which again can't be resisted or evaded, and that again plays into the thermal exhaust because then you'll get more thermal detonators. And ability exhaust, while not vital, is still quite good because you're going to get a lot of debuffs going out. Putting ability block on the enemy, it's going to slow them down, it's going to make it harder for them to kill you as they'll just be doing a single target attack. And the best disc for this specific Conquest, not always going to see it, in fact unlikely to see it, but it's Booming Voice. Booming Voice is absolutely fantastic. I would go so far as to say it is broken in combination with caustic emissions and thermal exhaust. You're going to pump out a lot of debuffs, you're going to pump out a lot of damage. In the current Conquest, I've seen on one of the accounts I was doing Conquest on and a friend's account, they had caustic emissions, thermal exhaust and Booming Voice. This allowed Maul lead with Watt and 3 Mandalorians, not even well geared, like gear 12, to just pump through teams and go down to literally 0% stamina and still winning in Sector 5. That's how good these discs are in combination if you have the right team. Like, that could apply equally to a CLS team where you're going to have Han going first, probably going to delete someone instantly. Things like that. This synergy is so powerful and works well with a great number of teams that it's well worth trying to get it online if you can. As we look at how we're going to progress through Sector 1 on day 1, The first thing we're going to do is pick an appropriate data disk from this first data disk node that we have available. Maybe we don't get one from our data disk pool that we've highlighted as being powerful, but hopefully we do, and because we want to get that strategy online as soon as possible. But you're obviously going to take the best disk you can here. We're going to then go into hard path nodes 1 and 2. Once we clear the hard path node number 2, we'll be able to see the data disk that we get from the hard path, and then we can decide if it's worth us staying on this hard path or potentially taking an easier fight. So once we've established that, we're going to go into node 3 and 4, and then we get our data disk choice. We're going to again pick our appropriate data disk for our data disk strategy, and then we have nodes 5 to 10, which is going to run up to the mini boss. As this only gives you a choice of scavengers, like you get an extra scavenger choice before the mini boss, I generally don't care about taking the hard path here. I will just take the path which looks easiest for the teams I want to use in progressing through this sector. So once we've cleared node 10, we're again going to pick an appropriate data disk, and then we're going to do the mini boss node, clear that. Once we've cleared the mini boss, now this may change. CG have said that they're going to change where you see the post mini boss scavenger and the data disk choice. So I'm just basing this currently on how it's lined up right now. So, but what we're going to do, we're going to check the optional data disk from the 2 data disk / scavenger pool. If we have a disk that we absolutely need for our strategy, we will pick the data disk node. Otherwise, we're going to work towards the scavenger. So we'll then do node 11, and then we're going to pick either our optional data disk or the scavenger node. We then will progress into node 12, and after node 12, we again get to pick a data disk. Once we've picked that data disk, we will go into the hard path again for node 13 and 14. This will again allow us to look at the hard node choice of data disk. If we get an essential data disk in that hard node data disk choice, we'll continue along the hard node path. Otherwise, we'll take the easiest path for our teams to get us to node 16. After we've cleared node 16, we're going to pick our data disk, and then we'll go for nodes 17 to 21. Again, this is a scavenger choice, which is generally just not data disks, excuse me, which is generally just choices of the buffs, the consumables. So I don't put a lot of value on these. I'll just take the easiest path. Sometimes that's the hard node based on the teams I want to use, but if it's not, it's not. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. We will then fight the boss node, and we will pick the appropriate data disk from the post-boss data disk choice. From here, we're going to go to Sector 2. We're going to pick our appropriate data disk, and staying in Sector 2, we're going to do hard path node 1 and 2 again. We're then going to check the data disk again to see whether it's worth staying on the hard node. And then we're going to go and do node 3. Once we finish node 3, we're going to head back to Sector 1, and we're going to do the boss 3 further times. But we'll get into the teams we're going to be using and why this is our strategy in just a moment. There are a number of teams I'm looking at using in Sector 1 to clear the 20 nodes plus 2 boss nodes. And in no particular order, because I'll be using these teams as they best line up against the nodes that I'm seeing, are as follows. I will want to do 4 fights with Jedi Master Kenobi plus the 4 members of the Bad Batch. That's going to progress my clone trooper kill feat, and that will take them down to 60% stamina. I'm going to want to do 5 fights with Maul lead, with Jango Fett, Canderous, Wat Tambor, and the Armourer. That's going to bring those down to 50% stamina, but should help me start making progression on those 100 Jango/Boba kills. I will want to do 5 fights with Commander Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, 3PO and Chewie, and Han Solo with Boba Fett. That's going to bring this team also to 50% stamina, but that's going to get me 25% of the way through the Han Solo and Boba Fett team global feat. I'm then going to do 2 fights with Lord Vader, Darth Vader, Admiral Piet, Royal Guard, and Moff Gideon. That's going to bring them down to 80% stamina. I will then do the same with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, General Hux, Kylo Ren Unmasked, Sith Trooper, and First Order Officer. That's going to also bring those to 80% stamina. Sith Eternal Emperor, Darth Revan, Darth Malik, Bastila Shan Fallen, and Sith Marauder. That'll bring those to 80% stamina. For the mini-boss, I'm going to be looking at Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, Grand Master Yoda, Zam Wesell, and Wat Tambor. This will bring all of these units to 90% stamina, but will bring Wat down to 40%. And for the main boss, I'm going to be looking at General Grievous, B1 Battle Droid, B2 Super Battle Droid, Magna Guard, and Jango Fett, bringing them to 90% stamina, and Jango to 40% stamina. Then, as I go into the Sector 2 nodes, I'm going to start by doing 3 fights with Night Sisters, that's Mother Talzin lead, Old Dakar, Night Sister Zombie, Asajj Ventress, and Night Sister Spirit, bringing them to 70% stamina. And going back to the Sector 1 boss node, I will do Bossk lead, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, Zam Wesell, and Dengar. That's going to bring Bossk, Fennec, and Dengar to 70% stamina, Zam to 60% stamina, and Boba to a measly 20% stamina. But that's okay. So the energy breakdown for how I'm approaching day 1 is as follows. We will have a starting energy of 144. From Conquest 10, as we're now in Conquest 11, once my energy is maxed there, I will refresh once to bring me to the absolute cap of 264 energy. During this first day, I will do 3 crystal refreshes for 360 energy, which is going to bring me to a total of 624 energy. I'm going to use 560 of this energy and roll over 64 energy plus what naturally accrues until the next day. Now we're going to look at the feats and what I think is a somewhat realistic estimation of what I'll complete or the progress I will make on day 1 towards feats. I'm hoping to get at least 16 kills with clones. It should be 20, but there is the risk that Jedi Master Kenobi can snipe some of those kills. As I'm using Maul 5 times and I'm using Bosk 3 times, I should get 8 frenzies. I should easily inflict the evasion down 40 times between using 3PO and Chewie with CLS 5 times and with using Zam on both the mini boss and the end boss for a total of 4 times, as her second special inflicts evasion down on all enemies. I will win the boss fight with only Separatists, and I will win the boss fight using no Jedi, no Sith, and no unaligned Force users, and I will complete the mini boss with Zam surviving. My Sector 2 feats, I should get 3 towards my win without losing units and 3 towards the Night Sister feat. While I don't think I'm going to need the Night Sister feat to get the red box, it doesn't hurt me making some progress on this, as it's not going to influence the fights I'm doing in this sector generally when it comes to day 2, and it gives me the option of not having to struggle later on. For the global feats, I should do 5 wins with Boba Han, 3 wins with Boba Fennec, 10 to 15 Boba Jango kills, and 3 Bounty Hunter wins. So we're making a nice amount of progress for day 1 through a number of different feats, especially dipping into those global feats and getting ourselves ahead so we aren't going to get caught out at the tail end of Conquest. Well, thank you for checking out the video, and I hope you found it helpful. I hope you can see the approach I'm taking and you can adapt it to your roster so you can give yourself an easier time. I think the real key points to take here is get this data dish strategy online. Allow yourself to do some of those global feats as soon as you can to get yourself ahead of them so you're not worrying about them later. And, you know, just don't try and burn stamina on all the teams. Think about the teams you're going to use in future days so you know, oh, it's okay, I'm not going to use CLS Boba on day 2. I can burn a bit more stamina today because he's, by the time I want to use him again on day 3, he'll be back up to 70 or 80%, and that's no problem for me. Things like that. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to the channel because that's fantastic. I would love more subs here. Share the video with your friends and your guild and your shards, and feel free to join my Discord server, which is linked in the description, where I'm usually online to help people out and give them advice and answer any questions they have about what teams they can use for what feats, etc, etc, etc. Plus the community's building there, and there's a lot of helpful guys around who just want to help everyone get as far as they can with Conquest. Tune in again tomorrow, where I should have my day 2 of efficiency.